I used to be a Malthusian. This is my image of the world. Exploding population, a small planet that's going to lead ugly things. But I'm moving past the mouses because I think that we might be 150 years from a kind of the Enlightenment. Here is why. This is UN's population data you might have seen. And for the world and world's population expected to top out at something hopefully a bit less than 10 billion later this year, later this century. And then most likely it's going to begin to decline. So what then? Most of economic models are built around scarcity and growth. So a lot of economists look declining population and expect to see stagnation, maybe depression. But declining population is going to have at least two very beneficial economic effects. One, fewer people on a fixed amount of land make investing in property a bad bet. A lot of the cost of property is wrapped in its speculative value. So take away land speculation, price of land drops, and that begins lift the heavy burden of the world's poor. Two, declining population means scarce labor. Scarce labor drives wages, and as wages increase, that also begin to lift the heavy burden on the poor and the working class. Now, I'm not talking about a radical decline in population that we saw in the Black Death. But look what happened in Europe after the plague. Rising wages, land for land reform, technological innovation, bursts of the middle class, and then all forward-looking social movements like the Renaissance and later the Enlightenment. Now, most of the world cultural heritages has tended to look backwards, romanticizing the past. So all of the Western religions begin with the nation of Eden, descended through a kind of profligate present to a very ugly future. So our history is viewed as downhill slide from the good old days, but we are in for another change about 2 generations after the top of the curve. once the effects of declining population start to settle in, at that point, we are going to start romanticizing the future again instead of the nasty, brutish future. Why does that matter? Why talk about social economic movements that may be a century away? Because transitions are dangerous times when landowners start to lose money and labor demands more pay. There are a powerful interests that are going to fear for the future, and that fear for the future leads some rash decisions. So if we have positive image about the future, we might be able to accelerate through that turn instead of careening off a cliff. If we can make it through 150 years, through the next 150 years, your great-great-grandchildren will forget all about Malthus. Instead, they will be planning for the future and starting to build the 22nd century enlightenment.